y'all, it's Fantasia. Welcome to my channel, Sewing with Tay of the Aya Emporium. Hey guys, I am making a quick video today on hand knitting again. If you're new here, I make videos on sewing, hand knitting, crafty type things. I've been trying to document my micro lock process, but it hasn't really been going like that. But if any of that's your cup of tea, make sure you hit the subscribe button and notification bell so you know I'm making new videos. Today, I'm making a quick video on hand knitting. I had some orders to do some hand knitted cardigans again, and I found what I think is a simpler way to attach the sleeve, and I thought it looked nicer. On some of the previous ones I've made, the method that I showed you previously, I felt like it caused like a bump, or where, like if the sleeve is here because it's kind of drop shoulder, like it was a little bump there where the sleeve, oh, my earring did not want to stay in, where the sleeve was attached, and I didn't necessarily care for that, but at the time I didn't really think of a different way to do it. But I found a different way to do it, and I'm going to show y'all that real quick. So when you're adding sleeves, it's a simpler way to do it, and it looks a little cleaner in my opinion. So I'm just going to hop right into the video. I'm going to voice over the whole thing because I was doing a couple things while I was doing it, like embroidering, so there was noise in the background. So I'm going to do a voiceover and just talk you through the new way to add the sleeve. Okay, so I realized I should have shown you guys a bigger view of this, but this is the side. So this is the front, this is the back, this is the edge of it after I have knit the whole entire back and front. I'm just going to take my yarn, just like a regular tail of yarn, and I'm going to tie it off on one of the loops, and then I'm going to make my first loop. I decided that I wanted my armhole opening to be 12 inches on the front and 12 inches on the back. So I have a pin that marks my shoulder, which is right here in the center, and then another pin down on the other end where that's 12 inches down, and then another pin on the other side that is also 12 inches down. So I'm going to take my working yarn and I'm going to just start inserting loops onto that end row of my sweater. So I didn't specifically count my loops, but I did want to make sure that I had an even amount of loops for the front and the back, because once you get done knitting the actual sleeve, you will have to fold it in half, and you want that to match so that they are the same length. They both should be 12 inches because we have it marked here, but having the same amount of loops just makes it a little easier when you're trying to make sure that it is in fact even. But this first row is just like all my other videos. I will link my original video in here so that you can see it. But this first row of loops, I'm just putting that loop behind that outer edge casing. So there's like 2 loops there. I am making my new loop right behind it. And it kind of gives a continuous look. If you can see, like the ones that I've started, like on the left side of the screen, it looks like it's a continuation of the body, not a separate kind of like attached on sleeve, kind of how what we were doing previously with knitting in a circle. I will say this is also easier because with the other method we were knitting circular and you had to make sure you didn't lose loops, but this way you're knitting it flat, so it is really simple and it's a lot easier. You don't have to worry about losing loops as much, and I thought it went a lot quicker than the circle, like knitting in a circle method that I was doing before. Once you finish your first row, you're just going to keep knitting the way we have knit, the entire sweater, and you just keep going all the way till you get until the end. And I'm just going to fast forward this because we've done this before. If you have other questions about it, you can watch my other videos that I will have linked in the description for you. So we are going to continue to knit this for however much length you need. So I wanted a 36-inch sleeve. So for my sleeve length, my shoulder was already like 21 inches from the neck edge to where I started my sleeve. So the actual sleeve only needed to be about 15 inches. So that's where you see me here. I'm just knitting back and forth till I get to my 15 inches. I left my safety pins in. So the safety pin at the shoulder and the safety pin at the front bottom and the back bottom so that I can easily measure, because it all does blend in together, so that I can easily measure the length. When I hit 15, I decided that I wanted to make it a little bit narrower so it has a smaller kind of cuff. So I'm going to combine 2 loops and then make a new loop with my working yarn. So I'm going to do that for this last row here. So put 2 loops together and then make a new loop. 2 loops together, then make a new loop. And this way you're decreasing the amount of loops you have, and it starts to create a shape. Once I did that all the way down, if you get to the end and there's only 2 loops left, just do 2 regular loops. Once you get done with that, I put a regular row of loops in between, and then I did it again. It's not shown here because I realized I wasn't recording, so it's not shown, but I did this process twice. And then once I got done with the second one, I put an additional row across the bottom, just regular loops, before I started my cast off. That way you will have like one loop where they're decreasing, a regular loop, another loop where they're decreasing, a regular loop, and then one more regular loop, and then you'll cast off. So you'll see here there is a little bit of a angle where it's coming smaller for your wrist for the sleeve opening. Once you get here, I'm going to start casting off, which I've shown you guys in different videos. You make a new loop, put it over the second loop, use your working yarn to make a new loop. New loop goes over the next loop, and you repeat the process all the way until you get to the end. And I like this method because some of the ones that I've made in the past, the sleeve openings were really big, it was dramatic, it was amazing, but it's not as functional as you'll like. And these sweaters are already very heavy, so I felt like, okay, let's not add more to the sleeve, let's taper it just a little bit. It doesn't have to be the scrunched up, sleeve opening, but just a little bit smaller so that I can, be more comfortable in the sweater. I'm going to cut my tail, pull the tail through the end of my cast off, pull it snugly, and then I'm going to tuck my tail into the knit stitches, and that is it. This is what it looks like. So here is my sleeve. This is the right sides, and this is the wrong side. We are going to fold it in half so that your right sides are together. So you should be looking at your purl stitches, and once we're going to knit back and forth along the bottom edge like we've done on previous videos. So get to a long string at your sleeve opening where we did our cast off. You want to find a hole like that's right behind that cast off, and you're going to tie on your long string, and we're going to sew this back and forth like we would a sewing machine. And there's more in-depth videos of this process on my previous hand knit videos. So once you get that settled in there, I pulled way too hard and I broke my yarn, so don't do that. But yeah, once you get it tied off and it's secured, you're going to go back and forth along that bottom edge to close up the bottom of your sleeve and your sides. So you're going to do that all together in one piece. So you see here it's kind of an L shape. You're just going to go back and forth, and you're going to pull your yarn back up and down through the yarn to close up your sides. This is definitely time consuming. You want to make sure your stitches are close together because you don't want any holes, so you don't want to go too far apart, but you just want to go all the way through up and down until you get to your hem. This is me starting at the sleeve opening. You can also do this process starting at the hem and go all the way up to the sleeve opening. The choice is yours. And you see here that your sleeve has a little bit of shape to it, but still full. On the body, it does blend a lot better. I was so much happier with this process. Thank y'all so much for watching. Let me know in the comments if you found this way easier than the way I've shown you guys previously. But until next time, bye. Make sure you hit that subscribe button so I will see you again.